Most people think of trust as something that only the ultra wealthy people use to hide money in offshore accounts or to avoid estate taxes or to raise their trust fund babies. But the reality is that 99% of normal people that are not extra wealthy can benefit from the concept of trust. So in this video, I'm going to bust some myths about why people have these misconceptions about trust. And I also want to explain the different types of trusts and the specific purposes that they serve so that you can understand the different types of trusts that you can use for estate planning purposes, privacy, asset protection purposes, and also for tax mitigation or avoidance. So if you've ever dealt with probate, you need to realize that a lot of people don't want to send their loved ones through probate. And so the foundational estate planning mechanism that is used by 99% of my clients is what we call a revocable living trust. The revocable living trust is a trust that lets you avoid probate. What that means is that if you only have a will and your will says, I want my spouse or my kids to get everything, your will have to go through a number of months or years in the probate court to handle all of the estate administration. There is no immediate inheritance or automatic access to the funds or anything that you've left. So it is a public court process with the will. So the different types of trusts that exist out there, as I mentioned, the foundational one is the revocable living trust. That trust's specific purpose is primarily probate avoidance. So what the trust allows you to do is that it becomes your alter ego. What do I mean by that? The revocable living trust is in your social security number, you and your spouse's social security number. So there's no tax implications. There's no separate tax ID. The trust is used to avoid probate by the virtue of retitling all of your assets, including real estate, accounts, stocks, crypto, businesses, you name it, into the name of your revocable living trust. You're ensuring that when you die, a trust owns all of those assets, so nothing has to go through probate. So that's the main purpose of the revocable living trust, and it's the foundational estate planning tool that 99% of people should be utilizing to avoid years of probate court, to avoid getting their assets lost to the Department of Unclaimed Property, to avoid any conflict over their inheritance. So revocable living trust is your number one friend. The second type of trust is an irrevocable trust. So now when we talk about irrevocable trusts, there's different types of irrevocable trusts, and they all serve different purposes. The primary reasons for irrevocable trusts is usually either asset protection or tax strategy. When I say tax strategy, it's usually estate taxes. So if you own more than what the estate tax exemption amount allows you to pass to your beneficiaries tax-free, you may benefit from an irrevocable trust to gift some of the assets outside of your estate so that they're not subject to a 40% tax upon death. Now, as of now, 2025, the estate tax exemption is pretty high, so not a lot of people have that issue. But if your estate is under 14 million, there's not going to be any estate tax due. So you may not need an irrevocable trust for tax mitigation. So again, for most people, and just a simple revocable living trust is the best solution for probate avoidance, privacy, and also making sure that there's no disputes over the inheritance. Now, another reason why people use irrevocable trusts is asset protection. So if you give up ownership into an irrevocable trust that you cannot control and you cannot change it, then basically the asset doesn't belong to you. So if somebody tries to take it from you, like a creditor, a divorce, a lawsuit, a bankruptcy, those assets cannot be taken from you because you have given up ownership by the virtue of placing that asset into an irrevocable trust that now you cannot control. There's different subtypes of irrevocable trusts. Some of them are great, such as the irrevocable life insurance trust. The irrevocable life insurance trust is an easy way to mitigate estate taxes and also make sure that you give over the life insurance proceeds in an asset protected way to your beneficiaries. So for example, if you have a large life insurance policy that's worth $2-3 million, again, you don't really have access to that money now, but it will be added to your taxable estate. So a smart idea is to take that asset outside of your estate, put it into an irrevocable trust, and specify how you would want your kids to get that money. Because again, a lot of my clients don't want their 18-year-old getting their hands on $3 million all at once. Because a lot of the times, even if they're a smart kid, they just don't know how to handle that money or what to do with it. So by placing the life insurance proceeds into an irrevocable life insurance trust, you're not only minimizing estate taxes because now that $2 million life insurance policy is not part of your taxable estate, but also the money hits the trust, and then you can designate the specific guideline that the trustee will use to give money out to your kids, your spouses, and they're not just going to have direct access to $3 million in their bank account. There's other types of trusts. Another one that I really like is the qualified personal residence trust, where it lets you take your primary residence and get it outside of your taxable estate, but also make sure that you're getting asset protection for your primary residence because it is an irrevocable trust. And basically you just have the right to live in it, but no creditor can attach their claims to that trust. So now I hope I've made it clear that there's different types of trusts, and a lot of people can benefit from a revocable living trust trust or maybe an irrevocable trust or a combination of both. What is really key is that you need to get some custom tailored legal advice for you and your family before you engage in any tax planning, because you can have really bad tax consequences if you work with somebody who does not specialize in this type of planning. So at this point, if I've given you a lot of useful info, please like this video. You can also follow the links that we have underneath this video to look at our website and schedule a free consultation with us to make sure that you're setting up the right type of trust for you and your family. It's been nice talking to you, and I will see you in the next video.